The following podcast is scheduled for no point and is no hold barred. Are you ready? Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to podcast. And now, making his way to the mic, coming to you all the way from the beer fridge. He's a campion, sometimes a champion, but we all know him as Cake Champion!
What the fuck was that? Was that Chris Buffer? Wait, is there a third Buffer brother that's a ring announcer? Oh, right. What up, Big Chiefs, and welcome to the Circles and Blunt Pencils podcast. With me, Cake Champion. Circles and Blunt Pencils, the podcast that has no point except when it comes to wrestling. Well, another week done and dusted in the world of wrestling. And as always, I'll be going through Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and Impact and giving my own thoughts on what's been happening. I'll also be going through the matches of Impact Wrestling Rebellion. That's on in just a couple of days. Or tomorrow, or today, depending on when you're listening to this. Also, I'll be doing something new and fun as well. But before I get started, it's time to say what I could find that happened on this day in history. The date, April 27th. Found a few things here. First, Backlash 2003. Watched only a couple of matches from this. Big Show defeated Rey Mysterio in a quick match, you could say. After the match, Rey was put on a stretcher and the Big Show picked up the stretcher and smacked it against the ring post while Rey Mysterio was strapped to it. He basically just swung the stretcher around like it was a baseball bat and just dropped it, and I'm pretty sure Rey Mysterio just landed on his head because he couldn't use his hands to break his fall because he was strapped to a stretcher. Also, Brock Lesnar defeated John Cena to retain the WWE Championship back when Lesnar would actually do more than 1,000 German suplexes and 100 F5s in a match. Like, basically, when he was good, when he could wrestle. I mean, he probably still could now. He just chooses not to. That's fine. That was a decent match. Sort of got sloppy towards the end there. But yeah, other matches that happened here was Team Angle of Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin defeating Los Guerreros of Chavo and Eddie Guerrero to retain the WWE Tag Team Championships. Kane and RVD defeated the Dudley Boys to retain the World Tag Team Championship. Jazz defeated Trish Stratus for the Women's Championship. Triple H, Ric Flair and Chris Jericho defeated Kevin Nash, Shawn Michaels and Booker T in a 6-man tag. I didn't really see the point of that match. I watched it and basically just got nothing from it. And Goldberg defeated The Rock. Goldberg's first match, I think, in WWE. And he only lasted a year. Yeah, good on him. Also, Backlash 2008. Watched a few matches from this as well. Shawn Michaels defeated Batista with Chris Jericho as the special guest referee. And he beat him after he countered the Batista bomb and landed awkwardly and was clutching at his knee. And Jericho was constantly checking on him, making sure, are you able to continue? He's like, yeah. Batista kept going to attack Michaels and Jericho was holding him off, and then Michaels pretty much quickly got up and connected with Sweet Chin Music to pick up the win. And this would later on develop into a great rivalry between Shawn Michaels and Chris Jericho, which I think was the best rivalry of 2008. Also, another match I watched was The Undertaker and Edge for the World Heavyweight Championship. Undertaker did win, and he won by submission with the Hell's Gate, even though there was interference from the Edgeheads of Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins, who are actually now the Raw Tag Team Champions. Pretty sure they are anyway. Edge passed out, or tapped out, one of them, and Undertaker left the submission on for a good 30 seconds after the match. And Edge was with Vicky Guerrero at the time, and she came out basically having a cry and demanded he break the hold and whatnot and all this other crap. And also the main event, there was a fatal four-way elimination match for the WWE Championship between the champion Randy Orton, Triple H, John Cena, and JBL. Elimination style matchup. At one stage, I think John Cena had the STFU on Randy Orton, and JBL's gone to stop Cena, but then just started screaming in Orton's face to tap. And then Triple H put the crossface on JBL while Orton got out of the STFU, and then Orton did the same thing to JBL, sort of went to kick Triple H and then started screaming in JBL's face to tap. Cena eliminated JBL after he hit the FU and then made JBL tap with the STFU. And just after JBL had tapped, Cena still had the submission on, and Orton punted Cena and then pinned him to eliminate him, which is sort of the same way Orton won at WrestleMania when Triple H was pinning John Cena, and then Orton came in with the punt. Triple H ended up winning the match, pinning Orton after the pedigree, and it was pretty much a one-on-one match between the two for a solid 15 to 20 minutes. These two ended up in a rivalry of their own, and it ended at, I think it was Extreme Rules, when Orton broke his collarbone. This was Triple H's 7th reign, after he won, obviously, his 7th reign as WWE Champion, and his 12th world title reign in total when you combine the WWE Championship and the World Heavyweight Championship. Also, on this day, which was actually last year, the greatest Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia. This is just best known for Titus O'Neil's entrance in the Rumble, where he ran down the ramp and then tripped and fell underneath the ring. It's, as Michael Cole said, it was the greatest moment ever in Royal Rumble history. Braun Strowman ended up winning that Rumble. It was a 50-man Royal Rumble match when he eliminated Big Cass. Don't know what he was doing being in there. Strowman won a massive trophy and a belt, and that was pretty much it for that. And Daniel Bryan also broke the record for lasting longest in a Royal Rumble match. I think what was it, an hour and 16 minutes. The record obviously was previously held by Rey Mysterio in the 2006 Royal Rumble. Other matches on this was John Cena versus Triple H. Just, because why not? It's in Saudi Arabia. That's what they want to see. Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy defeated The Bar for the vacant Raw Tag Team Championship. Jeff Hardy defeated Jinder Mahal for the US Championship. He was champion, he retained. The Bludgeon Brothers defeated the Usos to retain their SmackDown Tag Team Championship. Seth Rollins won a ladder match for the IC Championship against Finn Balor, Samoa Joe, and The Miz. AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura, their match ended in a double count-out for the WWE Championship. The Undertaker defeated Rusev in a casket match. That match just makes no sense. And Lesnar defeated Roman Reigns in a steel cage match to retain his Universal Championship, even though there was some controversy over the finish and blah blah blah. And then obviously Strowman winning the greatest Royal Rumble. Now, I'm doing this a couple of days later than I usually would. Usually I do record on a Thursday night. This time I'm recording on Saturday night, strictly just for Impact and Rebellion. But I am a little bit pissed off with myself, because if I had recorded on Thursday, my day in history would have just been surrounded by the fact that in 2002, Randy Orton made his WWE debut when he defeated Hardcore Holly on SmackDown. I remember watching this match, and straight away, Randy Orton, saw him, something about him, and I just knew, he was one of my favourites, and has been ever since. I followed him from that day. Since, obviously, I can't, because it was a couple of days ago, I thought, I'll just go into some of Randy Orton's accolades. He is a 13-time world champion, which is 9-time WWE champion and 4-time world heavyweight champion. He's a 2-time tag team champion, world tag team champion with Edge when they were rated RKO, and a SmackDown tag team champion when he was with the Wyatt family, and that was under the Freebird rule, where he basically was tag team champion with Bray Wyatt and Luke Harper. He's just a one-time Intercontinental champion. We won that back in 2003 against RVD. He's a one-time United States champion, which was a couple of years ago, I think, or maybe last year. Sort of when the US title just kept bouncing around. He's a one-time Money in the Bank winner. He won that Money in the Bank 2013. Cashed it in a month later at SummerSlam against Daniel Bryan, after Daniel Bryan defeated John Cena, where Triple H was the special guest referee, and then Triple H turned on Daniel Bryan, hit him with the pedigree, and Orton cashed in, and they pretty much joined forces and formed the Authority. He's also a 2-time Royal Rumble winner, winning it back in 2009 and just a couple of years ago in 2017. He's the 17th Triple Crown champion in WWE, which is basically when you are the world champion, a tag team champion, and intercontinental champion. And he's the 10th Grand Slam champion under the new way of working that out, which is when you're world champion, tag team champion, intercontinental champion, and United States champion. I could do a whole episode strictly on Randy Orton. I won't today. Got other things to talk about. But maybe, you never know, maybe in the future. Also, 12 years ago, I only found this about a month or two ago. I actually made a video dedicated to Randy Orton. So I'll try to post that up somehow on my Facebook, on the Facebook for sure, on the Circles and Blunt Pencils Facebook, and try to get the link out there as well. So yeah, that's day in history for today and a couple of days ago when I would usually do it. Right, now before I get into all wrestling this week, I'll just get into something from last week or the week before. Ring of Honor had their pay-per-view, Masters of the Craft. I did watch this, which is why I'm going to talk about it, just briefly. Jeff Cobb retained his Ring of Honor World Television Championship against someone. What else? Oh, there was a four corners match, which is what they call it anyway. Fatal four-way between Bandito, PJ Black, formerly Justin Gabriel in the WWE, Caristico, and Flip Gordon. This was a fantastic match. Just all these guys, just sort of like the old school cruiserweights, just can do anything. There was one spot in the match where PJ Black, Bandito, and Caristico were in the crowd, and where their crowd is, it was actually up a bit higher, so you're sort of almost looking down at the ring, being in the front row. And Flip Gordon actually jumped up onto the ropes and did a flip from the ring into the crowd where the other three were, which was just awesome. Bandito ended up winning that match. Hopefully that does mean something for him moving forward. Jay Lethal and Jonathan Grisham defeated Lifeblood in a 30-minute Iron Man tag team match. They won 2-1. In doing so, they become the #1 contenders for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships, which are held by my boys, the Gorillas of Destiny, G.O.D., Tungaloa and Tamatonga. I think they will get that match at War of the Worlds, which is 2 or 3 weeks away, which is a 4-day event. Nick Aldis defended his NWA World Heavyweight Championship against Colt Cabana. They were both on commentary, and Nick Aldis basically just kept giving it to Colt, saying, a year ago I beat you in some country to retain my title, and then Colt got fed up and challenged him to a match. Aldis accepted. He ended up, Colt won by disqualification after Mighty Squirrel came in and attacked, what did he do? I think he attacked Nick Aldis or Colt Cabana with his umbrella. And speaking of Mighty Squirrel, He and Villain Enterprises of PCO and Brody King defeated the Kingdom, Matt Taven, TK Ryan, and some other guy whose name I can't pronounce, in a 6-man street fight match for the Ring of Honor 6-man tag team championships. PCO pinned Matt Taven, which means PCO will get a shot or a chance at Matt Taven's Ring of Honor World Championship. Alright, now let's get stuck into WWE. Let's go to Raw. Let's see what happened on Raw this week. Triple H came out to the ring for some reason. Didn't say anything because Rollins came out as well. And as Rollins was making his way to the ring, the announcers were basically announcing that there were going to be 2 triple threat matches, with the winner of each match facing in the main event, and the winner of that match will face Rollins at Money in the Bank. The 2 matches were Rey Mysterio versus AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe, and also Drew McIntyre versus The Miz versus Baron Corbin. So Triple H was talking up Rollins, about going into WrestleMania as the Kingslayer, leaving as the Beast Slayer. Just watching this just brought back memories of when Seth Rollins and Triple H were in the Authority. I want them to form an alliance again. Maybe turn Rollins heel again. You never know. As they're talking, as you would expect, all 6 competitors in both triple threat matches came out and basically were staking their claim as to why they deserve a shot or should be Universal Champion. So it started off with Samoa Joe. Obviously, you just listen to Samoa Joe when he talks. Then Rey Mysterio came out, and then it was Drew McIntyre, then The Miz, and then Baron Corbin. How he ended up in there, I'll never know. But I still like Baron Corbin. He's just never really been up there in the world title picture. But of course, AJ Styles would come out last. So the first triple threat match followed this, and it was AJ Styles defeating Rey Mysterio and Samoa Joe. AJ Styles hit a powerbomb and a Styles Clash on Rey Mysterio on top of Samoa Joe. And the second match, Baron Corbin, yeah. I just said I don't know why he's there. And he ended up winning the second triple threat match. And he won it in what I would like to call typical Baron Corbin fashion. McIntyre did all the work. He hit the Claymore and the Miz. Just after he hit the Claymore, Baron Corbin came out of nowhere, pushed Drew McIntyre out of the ring, and he picked up the victory. So McIntyre doesn't take the pin, and he doesn't win the match to go to the main event of Raw to obviously lose to AJ Styles. So I think they're protecting Drew McIntyre a little bit after he lost to Reigns at Mania. Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins at SummerSlam. That's what I say there. The main event for Raw is teed up AJ Styles versus Baron Corbin. The winner of that will face Seth Rollins at Money in the Bank. Sami Zayn came out and cut a promo, and he was just slaying the entire crowd, audience, WWE Universe, whatever you call them. He's just blaming them for everything. And he also did a little slideshow presentation of all the images he took from his time off while he was traveling the world while healing from his shoulder surgery. And every single picture he was basically just saying, oh, here I was and look how happy I am. Look how happy I am. Look at that face. That face looks so happy. And look at me now. Ever since I came back here, I'm not happy, and it's because of all of you. Getting into this broke my heart. Cesaro on Raw. And it only breaks my heart because they split up the Bar, who still are, I guess, my favourite tag team in WWE. But hopefully this is a good sign for Cesaro. Hopefully he can finally get that singles push that everyone has been craving. He defeated Cedric Alexander. Fuck Cedric Alexander. Push Cesaro. That's all I want to say. The Usos were backstage having an interview, and the Revival interrupted, and they were sort of, going a bit back and forth. Which can only mean one thing, hopefully. The two of them are going to enter some sort of rivalry. The two best tag teams in WWE. That'll be good to see. I think that's one of the main reasons why the Usos went to Raw, to give them the opportunity to go up against the Revival. The War Raiders, the Viking Experience came out. Oh, sorry, they had another name change. They are now the Viking Raiders. I wonder what they'll be called next week. Maybe the War Experience. Maybe just keep playing around with those words. They did something, and didn't really catch my attention apart from the name change. Bobby Roode has gone through a bit of a transformation after dropping 150 pounds in dead weight, apparently. And he's changed his name as well, and his look. He's now Rick Rude. Oh, sorry, Robert Roode. He looks exactly like Rick Rude. You think he's turning heel? Fuck yeah, I hope so. We had a match against Ricochet, which he won. Now I'm just hoping maybe he can drop the glorious gimmick and do something a bit different. But in this match, what I felt from it was I'm starting to feel sorry for Ricochet, because Aleister Black has been moved to SmackDown. There's been a few still shake-up going on. Aleister Black's been moved to SmackDown, so Ricochet, I don't know. He might get lost in the shuffle a bit. I'm not too sure. I hope not. Bray Wyatt is now hosting Play School with his Firefly Funhouse. It's weird and disturbing at the same time. He's normal, I guess, in a way. He's not the Bray Wyatt of old. He just seems happy and chirpy. But maybe he'll end up going back to that. Maybe he'll go back and forth. Maybe have, split personalities or something like that. Main event, AJ Styles obviously defeated Baron Corbin. So, you know what that means. Seth Rollins versus AJ Styles at Money in the Bank. I would have loved to have seen Corbin win. That just would have been funny. Why give AJ Styles, just goes to Raw and just give him the world title match opportunity straight away. Just play with everyone's minds a bit. Give it to Baron Corbin, because he'd let everyone know about it as well. He's one of the top heels for sure. After the match, Rollins came out and congratulated AJ, and they shook hands. One of these guys, surely you'd think, would have to turn heel in order for this match to sort of go places. You'd think. Going back to what I said about Aleister Black going to SmackDown. Also, Andrade has been moved back to SmackDown after only just getting drafted or shaken up to Raw last week, which I really liked and was very keen for. And now he's just, back to SmackDown. What else? I think Lacey Evans and Becky Toolbelt will be going at Money in the Bank as well for the Raw Women's Championship. Alrighty, SmackDown. Shane McMahon came out and he called out Roman Reigns for Superman punching Vince. Basically saying, how could you beat up someone's father? How could you lay your hands on someone's father? Bit of a hypocrite there, Shane, after what you did to the Miz's dad. But it works, with the heel, him being a heel gimmick. It's still getting over, I guess. Reigns came out. He had a microphone in hand and basically just threw it to the ground and, was ready to go, get in a punch on with Shane. Then Elias came down to distract Roman so Shane could get the upper hand. I think Elias is with the McMahons now. Very good. Push. Yes. Push the man. Please. Finally. Just like with Cesaro. Obviously, everyone's wanted it for Cesaro for a lot longer. But Elias, you need something more than just to constantly get interrupted when he's doing a fantastic musical performance. Finn Balor redeemed himself from last week, defeating Andrade. Like I said, what was the point of Andrade even getting drafted or shaken up to Raw? Just going to go back to SmackDown. But I can sort of see a Finn Balor Andrade feud, I guess, for the Intercontinental Championship. Who knows? Backstage, Elias was singing another Grammy-worthy song, calling out Roman Reigns for a match at Money in the Bank. And then afterwards, hopped in a limousine with Shane McMahon. Elias and the McMahons is happening. Jinder Mahal, the modern-day Maharaja, is back on SmackDown. Don't know what he did, but I know he's back. Actually, I think he got beat up by Lars Sullivan again, or whatever. Ah, yes, something that we haven't seen, I think, ever. Becky Lynch and Charlotte cutting promos on each other, which only meant one thing: hitting the fast forward button. Bayley came out for some reason. I think she was looking for more hugs. I don't know. Her and Charlotte had a match for the number one contender for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Charlotte won. So Becky, tool belts, will have 2 matches at Money in the Bank. Against Lacey Evans for the Raw Women's Championship and against Charlotte for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Suck shit. I hope they're back to back. Either way, she'll probably win both matches. Kofi Kingston defeated Shinsuke Nakamura by DQ. I think Rusev had the shit, so he came in and beat up Kofi Kingston. Decent match-ish, I guess. Nothing really worth mentioning from this, except for the fact that Kevin Owens has finally turned heel when he super kicked Kofi Kingston and gave him a beatdown. And I can't remember if he did anything to Woods or not. That might have been Rusev. Even though he was only part of the New Day for 2 weeks, I was really enjoying it because he's very good. Kevin Owens is very funny, very entertaining. I mean, just remember when he was with Y2J. Well, not Y2J, but when he was with Chris Jericho, when they were the best friends. That was really entertaining. But obviously, since Kevin Owens was announced coming back, this is what I wanted. I wanted him as a heel, and it looks like he will be in the WWE Championship picture and could be the first challenger for Kofi Kingston. Definitely looking forward to that. So that was SmackDown. What's next? NXT. Jackson Riker absolutely destroyed Cabrillo, whoever that is. The match ended in a count out or a disqualification. Riker just absolutely pummeled the fuck out of this guy. They were even in the crowd at one stage. And then Danny Burch and Lorcan, that tag team, the British boys, not British boys, like the British hard-hitting men, I guess, they made the save. Jackson Riker is a beast. Formerly Gunner in TNA. He's the leader of the Forgotten Sons. I think they might have a little thin. The Forgotten Sons and Danny Burch and Lorcan. But then Riker needs to move up in the NXT ranks, not get demoted to Raw and SmackDown. No, please. It was announced that Kushida has signed with NXT, and Cassius Ohno has demanded he be the first man to face him, and William Regal granted him that opportunity. The War Raiders, I think they're still the War Raiders on NXT, but the Viking Raiders experience, whatever, on Raw. They defeated the Street Profits. I think it was for the NXT Tag Team Championships. That was a good match. I think the Street Profits are next in line for the NXT Tag Team Championships. I still can't get over the name change of War Raiders, Viking Experience, or whatever. They're on both shows. They're now like Aleister Black and Ricochet, where they were on all 3 shows. Oh, that's right. It was Johnny Gargano and Roderick Strong. I think last week I said it was for the title. It wasn't. I was wrong. That was a good match. As much as I hate the bloke, I mean, I really hate the bloke. But he has good matches. He's definitely had some of the best matches in NXT. Roderick Strong came out alone. He didn't come out with the Undisputed Era. So is something going on there. And I've just got to say that Johnny Gargano has got to have the gayest theme music in all of wrestling. It's just fucking gay. Like, I think the chicks would be embarrassed to come out to music like this. Gargano had his no escape hold submission on, whatever the fuck you call it, I guess, the Daniel Bryan knockoff. Adam Cole came down to cause a distraction, which worked. And Cole was basically sledging Johnny, saying, you know, I'm the uncrowned champ and you're a bitch, and probably didn't say that. He was probably meaning to say that. And then the Era was making their way down to the ring. But for some unknown reason, Matt Riddle decided to attack the Era. Honestly, why the fuck would someone want to help out Johnny Fuckwit? What's wrong with you, Matt Riddle? Stop smoking so many cones, because you look like a stoner hippie surfer. Go back to doing that. Don't go helping Johnny Toolbag. Stop being an idiot. Strong went to tap Cole to see what he was doing or whatever, and Cole obviously thought it was Gargano and turned around, spun and kicked him in the head, which cost him the match. And then after this, there was a bit of arguing going on between the Era and Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish were, you know, trying to keep them apart and calm them down, and they were sort of calm but didn't all leave together. So at the next takeover, I'm thinking it'll be a triple threat match between Johnny Gargano, Adam Cole, and Roderick Strong. That's in June, I think, the next takeover. So maybe 6 weeks away. Be generous, about 6 weeks. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I think the Cole and Strong thing will continue on for a little bit longer, and they'll be bickering over the NXT title. And God, I hope not, but Matt Riddle might enter himself in that as well, because he's a bro. Alrighty, Impact. I've got two weeks of Impact to get through, so I'll obviously be starting with last week. Dez from the Rascals defeated Moose with the help of fellow Rascals members Trey and Wentz. Moose dominated the entire match and lost. I think there was a distraction from the Rascals. After the match, Moose was backstage and was basically just telling everyone in the truck to just edit what happened or cut it out, and then said he was basically going to take matters into his own hands. Tessa Blanchard, I'll said it before and I'll say it again, she's only young. She's 23 and she already has to be the best female wrestler there is today, without a doubt. She was cutting a promo on Gail Kim, claiming Gail is constantly costing her matches because Gail is jealous of how good Tessa is. Tessa says she's the greatest female wrestler on the planet, and she's only 23, which I just said, and like I said, she's not wrong. Tessa was at Gail Kim's husband's restaurant looking for him, terrorizing customers, basically saying, "Where's Mr. Gail Kim?" She went out to the back, and because his restaurant, so I'm pretty sure he's the head chef there. Tessa was looking for him, couldn't find him. She fired a busboy for being stupid. She even threw his whatever he was doing on the ground and then said, "Look what you did, you idiot." And then found someone else and said, "You know, tell him I was here, I was looking for him." And then started pouring sauce on everyone. Gail was then interviewed after this, backstage at Impact, and she called Tessa a spoiled little brat and claimed that was her at that age. So basically saying that the two of them are similar. I can't wait for this match at Rebellion. I think it's probably the match I'm most looking forward to. Bet you guys didn't see that one coming. Madman Fulton of OVE defeated Tommy Dreamer in a somewhat physical match. I've noticed a lot of similarities recently with OVE and the Wyatt family. Sammy Callahan, the leader of OVE, sort of similar to Bray Wyatt. He likes to play those mind games and whatnot. Madman Fulton reminds me of Braun Strowman when he was in the Wyatt family, just out of the blue, this big guy, basically being the muscle. Callahan controls Madman Fulton by slapping him and pulling really hard on his hair, and he's got dreadlocks, so he's really just constantly pulling his hair, treating him like a pit bull or whatever. After the match, Fulton continued to beat down Dreamer. Willie Mack came down to make the save. Following that, OVE members Jake and Dave Christ came to attack Willie Mack. Rich Swann then came out, and then Sammy Callahan came out because he was kicked out. He was banned from ringside afterwards. Callahan had Dreamer's arm in a chair and smashed it with a baseball bat, while OVE of the Chris brothers made Rich Swann watch, and Madman Fulton had Willie Mack and made sure that he saw what was going on also. Johnny Impact had an interview at his home, just talking shit about Brian Cage once again and calling the fans stupid marks, which I love. And then afterwards, Brian Cage just went on a rampage back at the Impact Arena. He was abusing Don Callis about his match at Rebellion. And then Callis was just saying that he and Scott D'Amore had a plan. And as Cage headed to the back, Callis quickly called D'Amore to warn him about Cage going on a rampage. And then, Cage got up to him. He's like, we got a plan. Lance Storm interrupted and told Cage to conduct himself professionally. And this ended up with Lance Storm being announced as the special guest referee for the world title match at Rebellion, which Scott D'Amore claimed that was his idea the entire time. That was his plan. The Lucha Brothers of Phoenix and Pentagon defeated Eli Drake and Eddie Edwards to retain their World Tag Team titles. LAX tried to interfere, but it didn't work. After the match, the Lucha Bros and LAX brawled their way to the back. Eddie Edwards and Eli Drake were, sharing a moment in the ring like it's all good. Then Eli Drake turned on Eddie Edwards and continued to beat him up with Kenny, which is Eddie Edwards' kendo stick. So that was last week on Impact. Now, for this week on Impact, Eli Drake kicked it off and was cutting a promo on Eddie Edwards about being the weak link. Eddie Edwards retaliated and attacked Eli Drake with Kenny, which I just mentioned was his kendo stick. I dare say these two would have had a match at Rebellion, the key word being would have. But that won't be due to the fact that Eli Drake got released. I think I spoke about this a couple of weeks ago. Obviously, because they do pre-tape, so this was obviously taped a while ago because Eli Drake was released around the time of United We Stand for comments made about Tessa Blanchett and refusing to wrestle her in an intergender match. Because that would have been a good match to see, and it would have been good. Eli Drake. Hopefully he finds a new home sooner rather than later. Ace Austin, star of the future for sure. He defeated Aiden Prince. Prince attempted a 450 splash off the top rope, which Ace Austin countered into a triangle choke. And while the ref was checking on Prince, Ace Austin had a trick up his sleeve, so to speak, and pulled out a card and gave Prince a paper cut of sorts. And then hit him with the fold, which is his finishing maneuver. Ace Austin continued a beatdown after the match, but Petey Williams made the save. Like I said, Ace Austin, I think he's got all the tools. He's definitely going to be the future of Impact, future X Division champion for sure. There's no doubt about that. The Rascals. The Rascals of Des, Trey, and Wentz were backstage, and they each had a note. And they were just walking around the arena where they all met up in one spot, which is what the note was telling them to do. And they were saying, "Why did you write this?" And they had no idea who wrote it. But it turns out it came from Moose. Obviously, why wouldn't it be? Moose has been trying to join the Rascals for ages now. And that's what he wanted to meet about, seeing if he could join the Rascals. And the Rascals had their little, the little rascal huddle. But then Moose said, "Yeah, get them, boys." And the Rascals were like, "What, boys?" And Moose and the North, Ethan Page and Josh Alexander, were beating up the Rascals, something savage. The Rascals are only like small, not massively built dudes, as opposed to Ethan Page, Josh Alexander, and Moose. So they'll throwing them around like ragdolls. Johnny Impact spoke about not being worried that Lance Storm was being the special guest referee. After Lance Storm had trained Impact at OVW, and he even helped out Taya Valkyrie a lot. So they weren't concerned. Lance Storm came out, and it seemed good, between them. They're hugging and everything. But then Lance Storm hit the old famous line, "If I could just be serious for a minute." Then Impact and Valkyrie got worried, and it ended with a super kick from Lance Storm to Johnny Impact. So he's not on Team Impact, unlike senior referee Johnny Bravo. The main event was It was a 6-man tag team match. Basically, the champions versus the challengers. Brian Cage and LAX, the challengers, defeated Johnny Impact and the Lucha Bros, the champions. The only thing I didn't like about this match was it came to an end, because it was absolutely fantastic. There was a moment where Impact and Ortiz of LAX were outside, and then one by one, the other four, Phoenix, Pentagon, Santana, and Cage, all just jumped over the ropes to perform a diving move outside. So that was Impact. I'll now talk about Rebellion, which, like I said, is in a couple of days. Tomorrow, today, yesterday, depending on when you're listening. There's been 6 matches announced, but I want to throw one out there as well. I think Ace Austin and Petey Williams will have a match, and I think Killer Cross should be on this card as well. Killer Cross, I've said it before, he's just got star. There's something about him, he's got star written all over him. There's a 6-man tag team match, which was just announced on Impact, between the Rascals versus Moose and the North. I had originally said that I think it would have been Moose versus the Rascals in a 1-on-3 handicap match. I'm going the Rascals in that. I just think they're gonna do something weird and stupid. But yeah, I think they'll win that match. Taya Valkyrie will be defending her Knockouts Championship against Jordan Grace. I'm going Taya Valkyrie in that match as well. I'm going her to retain. The X Division Championship, Rich Swann defending against Sammy Callahan. I've gone Rich Swann in this, just because I think future title defenses, like I said earlier, maybe Ace Austin, and Johnny Impact as well. He won Ultimate X, which makes him a #1 contender for the X Division Championship. So maybe that as well. But I wouldn't be disappointed if Sammy Callahan did win. Obviously, he's got OVE. Rich Swann has got Willie Mack, and I dare say Tommy Dreamer as well, backing him up as well. But yeah, I'm going Rich Swann there. All right, the match I'm looking forward to most, a bit of a shock, but Gail Kim versus Tessa Blanchard. Hall of Famer Gail Kim, rising star, a fast rising star in Tessa Blanchard. I'm going Tessa Blanchard all the way. Gail Kim will put her over, which will do absolutely wonders for Tessa Blanchard moving forward, and she will get back her women's knockouts championship. They're not knockouts women's, they just refer to them as knockouts. Another match I'm actually looking forward to, the Impact Tag Team Championships. Lucha Bros defending against LAX in Full Metal Mayhem. Another word for a hardcore match. Basically, anything that's made of metal is legal. I want to say the Lucha Brothers in this. I really do. But I'm going LAX strictly based on the fact that Lucha Brothers are signed with AEW, which starts in 4 weeks. I want to say 4 weeks. Double or nothing. Cannot wait. So yeah, I'm going LAX strictly for that reason. The main event, you would think so anyway. Johnny Impact defending the Impact World Heavyweight Championship against Brian Cage, with Lance Storm as the referee. This is a tough one, because I do want to say Johnny Impact, because I think he will do something sneaky to win, but I'm going Brian Cage. It's his time. He's going to get that world. He's going to get that world title, I think, and I hope. So that's Rebellion. Next week, I'll be going over Rebellion, reviewing it, maybe even see how my predictions went. 6 for 6. As long as Tessa Blanchard wins, then that's a win for me. So that's Rebellion. Now, I said I had something new and fun. I do. I've got no fancy intros for it. Not yet. But I thought I'd call it Piece of Cake. Bit of a play on words, obviously being cake champion. And, you know, when you have cake, when you get a piece of cake, sometimes you get a good piece of cake, sometimes you get a bad piece of cake. So I thought, why not? Piece of cake, you know, a thin or two that I thought was good. Good piece of cake that I loved. And then piece of cake that I hated. So what I loved this week was Kevin Owens turning heel. Definitely. Cannot talk that up enough. Even posted something about it on Instagram. That's how excited I was for that. And hopefully he's challenging Kofi Kingston for the WWE Championship. And hopefully he wins. He was Universal Champion. I don't consider the Universal Championship as a world title. WWE Championship is a world title. Myself and the Cake Brains discussed this a few weeks ago about bringing back the World Heavyweight Championship as opposed to the Universal Championship. Champion of the universe. That's just gay. Another thing that I loved this week was Elias aligning himself with the McMahons. Vince McMahon called him the biggest get in SmackDown history. And then this week, Shane McMahon having his back and, you know, helping him out, even giving him a ride in his limo just so he could get his own private Elias performance. We all know that's why Shane McMahon did it. Now, what I hated, my bad piece of cake this week, I touched on it earlier. It damn near brought a tear to my eye when Cesaro came out on Raw, confirming my nightmares, I guess, of the Bar breaking up. The Bar, like I said, my favourite tag team in WWE. Not only that, but I think in WWE right now, they would definitely top 3 top 3 tag teams. I'd probably say the third best. The Usos and the Revival being the top 2. Usos being the best tag team in WWE. The Revival second. The Bar third. Yeah, I just absolutely hated that. I listened to the Bar episode of the Edge and Christian podcast about 2 or 3 times a week. It's my favourite podcast to listen to ever. Favourite tag team. They're broken up now. It could mean good things for Cesaro, but this is about a bad piece of cake, as you would. And I hated it. I hate that they're broken up. It'll take me a while to get over that for sure. And another thing I hated, I had the same feeling after Wrestle Kingdom when I woke up every day realizing that Tanahashi had beaten Kenny Omega for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. I still wake up with a sour taste in my mouth, not over that. But another thing I hated is that the fact that Johnny Gargano is still the NXT champion. It just haunts my dreams. I can't get over that. It hurts. It really hurts. And just a spoiler alert, moving forward with this little piece of cake segment every week, I can guarantee that this will be a part of it. Johnny Gargano still being NXT champion. So that was a piece of cake. Hopefully you enjoyed that. I know I enjoy it, and I will be doing it every week. So basically it'll just be a thing or two that I like that week and hated also. So that's a wrap. I think that's a wrap. Before I finish off, but I just want to give a special shout out. I want to give a special shout out to my main man, my plug, my guy, DJ Darv. If you are into R&B, if you're into R&B mixes, get on SoundCloud. Get a hold of SoundCloud and search for DJ Darv. I'll share it on Facebook. I'll share it on Instagram as well to help you find it. He's on SoundCloud. DJ Darv. R and Bass 5 p.m. mixtape TB 2019. That's for my man DJ Darv. Okay, guys. Another week of Circles of Blunt Pencils done and dusted. Facebook, Circles of Blunt Pencils. Instagram, at Circles and Blunt Pencils. Twitter, at CNBP. No, fuck, you're an idiot. Twitter, at CNB Pod. CNB Pod. Yeah, I don't know. It's late, Saturday night. I'm going to go. I'm going to drink some beers now. That's what I do on Saturday nights. Do that every night, actually. But Saturday nights is my main night. Anyway, I'm Cake Champion for the Circles and Blunt Pencils podcast. I'll catch you next time, slap nuts.